Now, the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony is usually a pomp-filled celebration in Oslo, but 2020. So the event this week went digital. The United Nations World Food Program won the Peace Prize for efforts to fight hunger. The head of the Nobel Committee gave a statement through webcast, while David Beasley, head of the UN program, accepted the prize in Rome, where the organization is based.
Since you cannot be here today, your Nobel Prize, medal and diploma have been brought to Rome instead. On behalf of the Norwegian Nobel Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, it is my great honor to present the Nobel Peace Prize for 2020 to the World Food Program, represented here by Executive Director David Beasley.
Let's hear more on how this honor helps advance the organization's goals. Steve Taravella is the World Food Program's senior spokesman, and he joins us now from Washington. Steve, congratulations to you and your colleagues on the Nobel Peace Prize. Well done. I want to start with a big picture question. What kind of message do you think the Nobel Committee is sending by awarding the Peace Prize to a food program that is run by the most well-known of multilateral organizations?
I think there's a very strong message being sent that it's not acceptable to use food as a weapon of war. The UN World Food Program has worked for years to use food to help further peace. And again, we have seen in different countries fighting factions using food to divide, to cause suffering, and to advance objectives of conflict. So I think the statement from the Nobel Committee was strong and welcome, and reassuring that this is not acceptable behavior on the global stage. It was also just a real morale boost, I have to say, to not just to the staff at WFP, who've been working flat out to reduce suffering from hunger, but to aid workers everywhere, to all of our partner agencies, because we don't do this alone, and all the governments who have donated to support our work over the years. What a tribute to efforts to reduce hunger.
Yes, certainly great validation. Yes, absolutely. You point out that there's famine that results from man-made conflict. There's also famine that results from drought or natural disasters or climate change. Where does COVID induce or COVID resultant hunger come from? Where does that fit in?
Wow, okay, good question. Let's back up one step, because you mentioned disasters and then conflict, and they both play a very big role in global hunger rates. I would say when I joined the World Food Program 12 years ago, the largest hunger crises that we were responding to in dramatic fashion were caused by natural disasters. Your viewers might remember the 2010 Haiti earthquake or the 2013 typhoon in the Philippines, even last year, the cyclone in Mozambique. No, now the biggest hunger crises around the world are all resulting from man-made conflict. These are things that are preventable. Astonishingly high rates of hunger caused by fighting that can be prevented. I would say about 80% of WFP's budget globally, which was about $8 billion last year, is spent just on the largest countries experiencing hunger, which was a little more than $6 billion. And if you think about the good we could all do in the world with $6 billion, but instead we're using that to reduce suffering of people who are experiencing hunger due to man-made conflict. And it's kind of astonishing to think that, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, ISIS, you need a spreadsheet to track terrorist groups now that are making conflict more intense and driving more people into hunger. To think that we now in the aid community have those groups as part of our vocabulary is maybe one of the things that led to this award.
So looking forward, Steve, I want to move towards something positive here. What kind of doors does this honor really open for the World Food Program?
Well, I guess it opens a couple of doors, doesn't it? One, you've invited me to come talk about it, which is an important door because we rely on voluntary funding, and that's driven by awareness. So I appreciate you letting us talk to your viewers about the need. There's an enormous financial need right now. And, we estimate 270 million people next year are literally marching toward starvation. We're teetering on the brink of famine in multiple countries and are appealing to the world for an additional more than $7 billion next year to help us ward off famine and mass migration and destabilization to promote peace, which is what it's all about. So I would say the biggest door that this award has opened is global attention and condemnation, secondly, of using food as a weapon of war. And both of those will help bring about further peace.
All right, good stuff. Some staggering numbers there. Steve, really appreciate it. Congratulations once again to you and your colleagues.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quicktake now for insight in an instant.